France 24's Angela Diffley has been taking a look at this story. She joins me now on the set for more. Angela, it might seem surprising to some that Russia's trying to rejoin the Council after it was just suspended last year.
Yeah, and there will be a vote next month on this, and it will be very interesting to observers to see what this vote says about Russia's international standing at the moment. It was, of course, suspended after the invasion of Ukraine. Russia, apparently in this paper, which the BBC has seen, is suggesting, and this against a backdrop of increasingly voices saying that the rules-based international order is too Western orientated. And Russia says that there is a growing trend for the United Nations Human Rights Council to be used as an instrument of broadly the West, and that people like Russia, countries like Russia, should be on it. That is the thrust of much of its argument. It's also, as is the case at the UN, there's always wheeling and dealing when there's a vote coming up, apparently is kind of promising grain and arms to countries that might vote for it. Of course, a number of key human rights bodies and the United Nations, two investigations itself, one into Russia's behaviour since the invasion of Ukraine and one into Russia's treatments of its own citizens. Both of those have found serious human rights violations, war crimes in the first case, arbitrary arrest, torture in the second. They found evidence of those. So the idea seems odd.
Angela, we do hear about the Council often condemning various countries from time to time. What exactly does this Human Rights Council do at the UN?
It's there to promote and strengthen the idea of human rights. I think we have a graphic here. There are 47 members, states, and there are elections held every year. They can sit on the Council for 3 years, but only a maximum of 2 terms. It can pass resolutions, but they're non-binding. And what it cannot do, it cannot mandate any interventions, and it cannot either impose sanctions. So it's very much about issuing resolutions saying we condemn. It is not always held in the highest esteem, this UN Human Rights Council around the world, because among its members are countries with very checkered records on human rights themselves. At the moment, we have China on it, we have Uzbekistan, to name just some of many countries. Regularly, there are countries who have very questionable records themselves on human rights. Another common complaint, the United States and Israel and a number of other countries have frequently complained that there's a built-in anti-Israeli bias. There is an ongoing investigation into Israeli-Palestinian issues, which has a very broad mandate and no real ending. And they point out that of the dozens of disputes, fights, wars around the world, there is an unusual spotlight all the time on that particular part of the world, and they say there's an anti-Israeli bias. They also complain that the wheeling and dealing in the elections undermines the credibility of the whole council.
Thank you for that, France 24's Angela Diffley.